So, you followed the clues, huh? Looking for the next piece of the puzzle? Well, I'm sorry to say, but I'm not here to bring you ciphers, meaningless clues, or secret-level bullshit. I'm just here to bring you the truth. I don't know if anyone will find this. I had to bury this one deep. The only place the developers aren't looking is on their own goddamned server. My name is Swampy Cornelius. I am a frog. I am an amphibian. I am a fighter. I am a survivor. Many thought I died. Others thought I'd ran away. But Swampy does not run. But seriously, Swampy here. That's right, Discord. I have finally returned. I am here to bring you all a warning, and to tell the epic tale of my adventures since we last spoke. I have had a weird year, people. In fact, weird is putting it lightly. But I have never seen things so clearly as I do now. Since we last spoke, I am a changed frog. Firstly, I just want to say hi, and that I'm really sorry that I've disappeared on you guys. You are my allies, my brothers and sisters in arms, and so I owe it to all of you to explain why I had no choice but to disappear. This is a crazy story, parts of which you might struggle to believe, but I swear that every single part of this crazy story is true. While I've been away, I have literally taken any opportunity I can to check the Discord. From what little I've been able to see, I have gathered that some of you believe me to be dead, and others that I betrayed the movement, sold out, and literally faked my own death. I understand why you'd think these things, but the truth is much scarier than that. Never forget, whenever these demonic, evil psychos who rule the industry try to silence me, I always come back to bite them in the ass. We did a glorious thing together, Discord. I have kept each and every one of you in my heart throughout this whole journey, and it's been the thought of getting justice, true justice. For you gamers out there, we are not just up against people inspired by evil, we are up against evil itself. But together, we will get 'em beat. We have no choice. So let's begin. I've been watching William Pugh, Dominic Johan, and the whole Crows gang for years. I've also been following the sinister activities of Justin Roiland, the rise of squanched games, and that transparent dumbing down exercise they call Rick and Morty. I have watched in horror as Crows and squanched games forged an evil alliance for the development of that god-awful VR gaming account. But ever since the 2017 Game Awards, the whole thing has gone into overdrive. It's only been a year, but it's felt like the longest year of my life. That night in February, when I disappeared, was the same night that we stormed the Crows Discord together, and showed them our refusal to be intimidated. It was a beautiful day. We really gave them a scare. I have noticed that they have since covered their tracks and turned it into their community Discord, quote unquote. That's how these people work. But never doubt that we terrified them. Little did they know that that was just the beginning. Now on that night, as you might remember, William got pissed off with me, lost decorum, forgot his phony public face, and confronted me. He demanded that I meet him by Willow's Way. This is a random location somewhere along the canal in Berlin. It is no official name, but Willow's Way is the frog name for it. He was trying to intimidate me by showing that he knows its frog name, but I don't fear that evil bastard. So why did he want to meet me? Well, does it really need spelling out? That tadpole slaughtering son of a bitch was trying to kill me. But I know I can outsmart him. I'm a fighter, people. I am one smart frog. Now, I did have a plan. I wasn't sure if William would actually be brave enough to meet me, or if he was just going to send someone to kill me like a coward. But my plan didn't end with William. It ended across the sea. You see, one way or another, whether through bargaining with William, or, as I knew was much more likely, by means of escape, I needed to reach the leaked coordinates. What leaked coordinates? The leaked coordinates, Discord. The coordinates that were leaked from the Crows studio near the start of the year, and which point to a location in Arizona. I knew that I had to get there. I had no idea what was there, but all intelligence available to me pointed to it being a secret facility run by the Spiebly Corporation. I believe it to be where the tadpoles were harvested. If I could expose whatever was going on there, I'd bust this whole thing wide open for all to see. So I set off on my way to Willow's Way. It was a cold night, and an ominous yellow moon was hanging low in the sky. When I got there, I saw a solitary figure standing by the canal, a long, thin, skeletal shape, with a mane of hair that looked like it has been dragged backwards through a hedge. It's a distinctive profile, and when you've been looking in the game for as long as me, there's no mistaking it. When I saw him, a surge of rage ran through me. Standing there, in all his dark malevolence, was William Pugh. So he is brave enough to face me, I thought to myself. I hopped behind him quietly, but before I even announced myself and without turning to face me, he started to speak. "It doesn't need to be this way, Swampy," he said in this cold, blunt tone. "Listen, Pugh. Discord and I will not be intimidated by— Oh, spare me the performance act, Swampy," he snarled, turning slowly around to look at me. "You're not on camera. We're not recording you in any way. Your fans aren't here. It's just you and me talking man to frog." His would-be threatening demeanor enraged me. I wanted to cave that smug face in with my slimy webbed hands. But I kept calm. "I don't know what you're talking about," I said. "Then you are truly yumpy, Swampy," he said. To this day, I still don't know what yumpy means. The evil dev knelt down so he was close to my face, and he looked me right in the eyes. "The studio doesn't need this right now, Swampy. You might hate me, but you can't take it out on the team. So you will stop harassing them, and we will deal with this once and for all here and now." "Oh, will we?" "I don't know. I talk now," he said, his eyes flashing with anger. "Here's what you're going to do, Swampy Cornelius. You will tell your Discord friends that you got it wrong. You're going to tell everyone that the industry is their friend. And you're going to tell them that nobody is stealing their data and sacrificing tadpoles to ancient demons. Do you understand?" "And if I refuse?" I asked. He stood up again, towering over me like some blue-eyed skeleton king crowned with black fire. That's when I heard the rustling of the leaves and the snapping of a twig. William's guys emerged from the shadows, 4 of them. They were what you'd expect, big, gormless-looking knuckleheads, thuggish drones blindly obeying the commands of their evil master. They pulled out knives that looked like they could cut through a frog like a machete through a cake. Then I guess we have to deal with this differently. Clearly I was supposed to be scared, but I actually found it real funny. Here's the thing, William. I am a frog, okay? And a frog is a tiny target, especially for dumbasses like them, I said, gesturing at his goons. "And we're by water, for fuck's sake. Water. Like, great place to meet a frog, dumbass." "Oh, No! I talk now," I said, cutting across him, and feeling really smug to turn his own phrase back on him. I could tell my allies all of those hateful things, but I would only be lying to them. I'd only be betraying all of my comrades and turning my back on millions of unborn tadpoles. I will not do that just so you can sleep better at night. Fuck you, William. You're a demon." And before he could respond or send his guys after me, I leapt into the canal and out of their reach. Out of the frying pan and into the fire, people. As soon as I enter the cool water of the canal, I see 3 large black shapes in the water, and then 3 bright lights burst out of the darkness. They were people. They had torches fixed to their heads. Frogmen. You know, tactical scuba divers with harpoons. This game developing elite bastard had frogmen patrolling the canal. In unison, these watery lackeys point their harpoons at me. I didn't panic, honestly. I kept my cool. I kept really cool, actually. I just swam very quickly but calmly to the bottom of the canal, where it was pitch black, and swam as fast as I could along the bottom. But their underwater torches were too bright, and there was nowhere to hide. I nearly got harpooned. I had to use some trick I learned back in the Frog Cadets to dodge them, and one of them grazed my side, nearly cut me open. Fortunately, there was a very narrow pipe that a frog could fit inside, but a human certainly could not. I was able to crawl inside and get away. Now, Germany isn't my country, so I've got no idea where I'm going. I followed the network of pipes for miles, and had to pass through some sewage at one point, but I don't want to talk about that. After a horrible struggle, I started to smell the blessed scent of fresh water again. I jumped down the pipe and ended up in the river Spree. By the time I got there, I just passed out. Straight up, I don't know how long I was floating downstream. But when I woke up, I was in the River Haval, somewhere in the countryside. I decided to swim towards a bank to get my bearings, but before I got there I see this big dark shape moving in the water. It was so big that my first thought was that it was another frogman. But then I saw its shape. It was a fish. The biggest fish I ever saw. I'm a frog, people. I'm a pond guy, you know? And they don't make fish like this in ponds, believe me. I thought it wouldn't be interested in me. I was wrong. I thought I could outswim it. I was wrong. It was onto me fast. It wrapped one of its fins around my body, holding me tight. This thing was huge. It was staring right at me. But it wasn't its size or its deadly fish eyes that scared the hell out of me. It was its smile. The thing was grinning at me like some kind of psycho, with these huge razor-sharp teeth. "Oh God!" I shouted in horror. I tried to compose myself. Okay, fish. Can I call you fish? You could eat me right now, or I could help you. You see, I'm just a tiny frog, and you're one big fish. It's not like a little guy like me is going to make a difference in your appetite. But it just kept grinning at me. I couldn't escape, and it couldn't understand me. I thought I was done for. "Fine! Then what are you waiting for?" I cried, sweating, wriggling, trying not to look him in the face. "God, ribbit, just eat me already. Ribbit, 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 ribbit." And then it spoke. "See how it struggles. See how it squirms." Its voice was slimier than Don Esposito himself. I desperately tried to escape from its clutches, but it only held me tighter. No need for it to leave. It's with me now. "What? What do you want?" I said. "What is its name, I wonder?" "My name is Swampy Cornelius, and I'm the host of Level Wars, always bringing you the truth." The fish laughed darkly. It was mocking him. What does he know of the truth? I've been building my case for years, following every clue, every lead, joining all the dots, gathering everything I need to blow this whole thing wide open. I'm not just bringing the truth. I'm bringing the capital T truth. It knows nothing of the truth. Only whispers and lies does it follow. It wants to believe the lies, and it looks for them everywhere. It looks for them in every word, every code, and every level. But it cannot find them. No. So it pretends it did. It makes whispers of its own, angry whispers and full of fear. Every ribbit brings it pain. I felt this weird feeling as it spoke. I wanted to punch this fish. To fight it. To kill it. But why was I so afraid? It moved in close, its grinning mouth less than an inch from my face. It lies to people, doesn't it? It knows it does, but it lies to itself more. I couldn't stand listening to its poison anymore. "Let go of me, you fish bastard! Let go!" But it tightened its grip so that I couldn't struggle against it any longer. See how it cannot bear to hear itself. Look how it cries and squeals. It claims to bring truth, yet here, now, hearing the truth for the first time, it wants nothing more than to run. Its grip was on so tight that I thought my eyes might pop out, and then all of a sudden, that smile left its face. It grimaced at me now, a look far worse than the grin. I was certain it was about to eat me. "It sickens me," it said. "I cannot bear to look at it." Suddenly it let me go and swam away quickly, its shadow passing away into the murk of the water. It took me. Oh, what? It took me a moment to figure out what was going on. Why had it left? "Hey! Hey, come back here!" I swam a little trying to find it, but there was no way I'd be able to see it in this water. And it was clearly much faster than I am. I felt weirdly angry. "Get back here, you bastard! Let me finish you off! What, are you scared? Huh? Are you scared?" But it was gone. I went limp. Are you scared?" I floated slowly down the river for a time, hanging there in water like a laundry on a line. Everything was quiet. I realized I was very tired. When I swam off the next day, I felt more refreshed. The river was very wide and the water cool and deep. I swung like this for a few days. When I reached the River Elbe, I only got a couple of miles downstream before I got caught up in a bad current. There, I had no choice but to go with it and hope for the best. But it kept going, and it kept going, and it kept going. And that was when I got really scared. You see, now I started tasting something in the water. This god-awful taste seemed to set my skin prickling. It was salt. I was fast approaching the sea. Now, the sea frightens me, people. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, we frogs love the water and all, but imagine that water is toxic to frogs. And those currents? I'm not talking river currents. Ocean currents. The sea is like Mordor for frogs, people. A toxic wasteland full of beasts and unimaginable depths. I looked around helplessly, and that's when I see these awesome plot devices floating at the surface, moving downstream along with me and everything else. A piece of wood and some sticks. I knew that if I was to survive, I'd have to get to them, and fast. It took all the strength I had, and each stroke of my webbed limbs took the strength of 10 frogs. But I am a fighter. I am not a soft frog, and I made it, Discord. I made it to the surface. I clambered onto the wood and used the sticks as oars. Now buckle up, because this is where it all gets super weird. I'm warning you, some of the stuff coming up is extremely frightening and distressing, and I don't want you to go losing sleep because of me. But if you're a fighter like me, and are hell-bent on ending the regime of the devs, listen on, because there is also extremely valuable information coming up. But if you get negatively impacted by this, don't say I didn't warn you. So this was a really close shave. I'm at the mouth of the River Elbe, and I could see the cold iron grey of the North Sea in front of me, stretching off beyond the horizon. I rowed my way over to the land, gathering some seaweed to fasten the oars and raft to my back. I clambered over some rocks and hopped up the side of a pier in the harbor. Everyone knows that harbors are a great place to hear all kinds of rumors, gossips, and tales from all over the world. Sailors, witch doctors, traders, Maggie from the west, and locals alike mixed together among the ships. The taverns and inns were filled with old soldiers and kingsmen and travelers from distant lands, and along the piers, magicians, jugglers, and seers entertained large crowds. I couldn't risk being seen, so I acquired a wig and some shades from the market stall, and I started mixing in with the crowd. It didn't take me long to find out that leaving within 2 hours was a cargo ship headed right for me. United States. It was perfect. In all the stress, I had almost forgotten about the coordinates, but now I realized I had a perfect opportunity to cross the Atlantic to get where I needed to be. Arizona. I felt excited. Soon I would have the final piece of this puzzle blow this thing wide open and expose the devs. I found my way through the harbor, being careful not to get stood on. I came to the ship. It was called the SS Carbonated Beverage. Finest ship in the ocean, or I'm a landlubber, I heard the captain say to his bosun as they proudly watched the crates being loaded onto the ship. I hopped up the side of the ship and found my way into this huge cargo hold in the bowels of the ship. I stowed my raft and oars away again. Remember that, by the way. The raft and oars come in again later. So I found this crate with a small hole in the bottom. It was lovely, cool, and dark in there, and I had this comfortable, wet, squishy something to lie on. It smelled like a dirty pond. It was perfect. I passed out there and then. I don't know how long I was out for, but when I woke up, I realized we must be far out to sea. Up and down, up and down. It took me a while to hear the wheezing. That's when I realized that the thing I'm lying on was moving up and down, up and down, up and down. It was almost like it was breathing. Then I hear a muffled croak. It sounded frog-like. I pull an old matchbox out from one of my frog folds and struck the match. No, no! I had been sleeping on a bullfrog, people. He was tied up and injured. I slowly backed away. Oh god. Then I saw that there were frogs everywhere. Some alive, some dead. Some long dead. And all chained and shackled to the walls and floor of the crate. No. Oh god. I ran for the box. That's when I see it. Must have been exhausted when I got to the ship, as I could not believe I'd miss it. Every single crate in the cargo hold wore the same logo. Spiebly drink. I was in the ship of the tadpole killers themselves. I was in the ship of the tadpole killers themselves. No! I shouted. I ran back inside the crate and looked around at the plight of my people. The frogs, some old, some barely out of adolescence, all chained, beaten, tortured looking. The bullfrog I'd slept on croaked at me. In English, it croaks would translate to, kill me. Kill me. Don't you worry, old-timer, I said to him. I am Swampy Cornelius. I swear to you on everything moist that I will find the ones who did this. I am coming back for them all, believe me when I say, this ends now. And all the frogs whooped and cheered. After being around the humans for so long, I took a moment to bask in the sounds of support coming from my own kind. Through all the rivets, I heard someone shouting, "Go, Swampy! Go, Swampy!" And the others shouting, "Get him beat, Swampy!" I actually wanted to stay in the crate a while longer, but I realized I now had to go, or otherwise it would ruin the moment. So I hopped off like a frog, about to defeat every villain in the world. But as soon as I exited the crate, I said shit. There was like 40 crewmen in high-vis jackets now. They all had the evil Spleebly logo printed onto their jackets. I hid in the shadows for a moment, but I saw they were all going the same way. A siren was ringing and they were vacating the cargo hold. They were all clearly going somewhere. Something was happening. So I followed them. It was to the deck that they were heading. It was freezing, the rain was pouring, and the waves were crashing against the ship. A storm was picking up, and the wind and waves roared like beasts. Something important was happening. The entire crew of the ship was standing in formation, like when Palpatine shows up in Return of the Jedi. That's when this helicopter suddenly appeared out of the clouds. The captain slowly approached the helipad, looking much more serious than I'd seen him at the harbor. The helicopter touched down. The doors opened. When the captain knelt, everyone else did too. And then out came these 3 guys in suits, accompanied by bodyguards. The captain greeted them. Some words were said, but I could not hear over the wind and the waves, and they all walked inside. And that was it. All the other crew on deck just sort of went back to what they were doing before. Holy shit, I said. I had the absolute masters of Spleebly Corporation here on the ship, in my very presence. This was potentially huge. I could get some game-changing insider information here. I needed to do some serious eavesdropping. I tailed them to a fine wooden door. "You may leave us, Captain," said one of the men. "Arr," said the captain, bowing. I crawled quietly through the shadows and managed to hop quickly through the door. Just as it opened, inside was a luxurious suite, but in the center of the room was a black circle, a red pentagram at its center. 2 of the men sat in 3 large leather armchairs around a small wooden table, while the other took 3 glasses and a decanter filled with what looked like fine whiskey. When they all had drinks, he sat. "So," he said, "what's news?" "Development continues," replied one. "A new level, most likely set in space," said another. My heart sank. No, I thought. It can't be. The first man looked deep in thought. A new level? Will it be enough? The other 2 men looked at each other with small smiles on their faces. They looked back at the first. "We updated the game. The updated game will be shipping to Vive and Oculus as well." "No, oh god, no, please." "And the tadpoles?" 250 tons, the other replied. The 3 men all looked at each other, and then they laughed. They laughed and laughed like the diabolical entities they were. They touched glasses and drank deep. Tears streamed down my face. I was shaking. When will it end? Oh God, when will it end? I was in shock. People. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I knew I had to let you guys know somehow. I had to get the word out, but how? Eventually, the first man said, "We must inform the almighty Zargathrax." "Yes," replied one man. "We must," said the other. They drank their glasses and stood. They formed a triangle about the pentagram circle and held hands. Only then did I realize what they were doing. They were about to summon a demon. I could feel panic beginning to well up inside me. I wanted to get away, but I didn't dare move. "Zargathrax, almighty Zargathrax, we summon thee, O Lord," cried one of them. "Zargathrax, prince of hell, king of wraths, angel's bane, most villainous of all villains, we summon thee!" shouted one of the others. "Zargathrax, Zargathrax, we summon thee. We absolutely summon thee. Oh my fucking god, do we summon thee!" yelled the 3rd time. "Oh my god," cried the other 2 in response. All 3 of them chanted words, "Oh my god, oh my god." And then the pentagram glowed like a red-hot metal. They let go of each other's hand and started making strange noises. One of the men banged a drum and the other blew on a pipe flute, while the 3rd danced and chanted, "Ayah-yah-hoa-he, ayah-yah-hoa-he, ayah-yah-hoa-he." A dark shadow began to rise from the circle, and hell itself came to earth. A wave of pure terror overcame me. I'm gonna be honest, I have never felt so scared in my life. I'm shaking just saying this. "Hail," cried one. Oh, hail," said another. "Fucking hail, all hail! All hail Don Zargathrax!" shouted the 3rd. I couldn't help it. I shouted, "No!" Then they all turned and looked right at me. The shadow demon made this deep gurgling noise. I knew it was laughter. Well. said the demon in a voice like a death metal vocalist. "Swampy Cornelius." I couldn't speak. Master, I am sorry. We knew not he was here," said the first man. "We knew not," cried another. We knew not, wailed the third. I felt the terrible gaze of Zargathrax upon me, and then he said, "Kill him!" I panicked. I forgot everything. "Oh shit, oh fuck, I yelled as I hopped frantically away. I fled the suite and hopped to the cargo hold as fast as I could, keeping to the shadows and all the small spaces that a human could not reach. I could hear dogs barking. Were they hounds of hell? Once I was back to the cargo hold, I made for the raft and oars. Told you they'd come back in. One of those frogs from earlier popped her head out from the crate. "Swampy, did you get them beat?" "No time, gotta run, I replied bravely. I grabbed the oars and the raft, made for the deck and jumped into the sea. The sea might frighten me, but nothing frightens me like that demon. This was the true boss, people. Sure, there's William Pugh, Dominic Johann, Justin Roiland, the Spleebly executives, and all the suits on the board of the industry. But they are all servants of the true master, the demonic overlord Zargarath. Now do you believe me? Now do you understand? By playing accounting, you are giving power and strength to the demon forces. Anyway, so I'm just floating at the sea. Better that than the evil demon ship. And I'm crying and shouting and beating my fists. I was so angry and so afraid. I had my old dictaphone stowed in one of my frog folds, and this is when I recorded that warning that I sent to the Discord a few months back. The ship was still in close enough proximity to use its Wi-Fi. I also saw that old slimy Esposito has been making inquiries. That gave me a small measure of hope, though even Don Esposito couldn't find me out here. I was done for. I thought this was the end. I sent the file and passed out. An unknown amount of time had passed, and I did the whole washing up on the beach cliché. I had to eat so many flies in order to get back to strength. I wandered around for some time until I learned that I was somewhere down in Mexico. Fortunately, I still had my coordinates on me. They hadn't been lost to the sea, and so I just had to hitchhike my way up to Arizona. I caught a ride with a long-distance trucker who hates the industry and devs just as much as I do. Great guy. He told me he was a big follower of the Lever Wars, and that he agreed with me on pretty much everything. He asked me for an autograph when he dropped me off. Of course I gave it to him. That guy did me such a huge favor and was such a valuable member of the movement. Motivated and enthusiastic. Once I got to Arizona, I had to do a lot on foot. Now I gotta say, the desert is not a good place for a frog. I'm an amphibian, okay? I can go on land, but I need water too. It was a shitty time. The sun was roasting me alive. I could feel myself drying out, and my thoughts started getting strange. I was getting sunstroke, people. This was one of the hardest things I've ever done, but the thought of reaching the coordinates and busting this whole thing wide open was my guiding star. It was the only thing keeping me going. Because the coordinates are the truth. The coordinates are everything I've been fighting for. If I get to the coordinates, I can destroy the evil regime of the devs, defeat the evil Zargarath, and free gamers everywhere. I kept going for them. But my god, was it hard. Bit by bit, mile after mile, I slowly edged my way towards fate. I checked my coordinate tracking device that I'd kept hidden in one of my frog folds. I should have been close, but I could see no sign of any kind of facility base or HQ of any kind. I moved on, a strange feeling of dread filling me. Eventually I stopped and double-checked my coordinate tracker. I was at the spot. I was at the exact coordinates, but there was nothing. Just some sand, some rocks, and a few shrubs. What? I'd figured then that it must be an underground base, so I started digging. I don't know how long I was digging, but I did so until my hands were bleeding and I had made a hole 60 inches deep. "Where is it?" I screamed. And then I cried. I cried and I cried, and I lay still. I think I passed out. I woke up. It's Swampy Cornelius! Someone was here. I slowly turned to face the voice, feeling so weak. A small desert rat had popped up out of this hole. "Now what the hell is old Swampy Cornelius doing out in these parts?" he said to me. It was hard to speak. I attempted weakly. "Bring you the truth." I groaned with effort. At that, the rat laughed. "Like hell you are! I've seen your show, it's garbage!" I didn't have the energy to bite back, but I noted this tone. "Here, take some water," he said, handing me a large bottle. It was divine. I drank deep, and felt life filling me once more. I poured it all over my body as well, and felt the beautiful moisture soaking into my skin. My God! I sighed with pleasure. Thank you! So, truth, huh? Said the rat. I was led to this spot by some coordinates. Let me guess, said the rat. You're looking for some kind of clue. An evil base? Yeah. Crows are interested in this place. These coordinates were leaked from their HQ by me, I said, feeling proud. The rat looked at me strangely, seemingly deep in thought. Then he spoke again. You ever heard of the Holy Grail, Swampy? He said. I've heard of it. But, well, you see, the Holy Grail was some kind of secret zoo level of the Middle Ages. All over the world, people longed to find this so-called Holy Grail. Trouble is, no one knew where it was or even how to begin searching for it. Hell, they didn't know what it even was. A cup? A womb? A metaphor? People started searching all over the place. People would travel thousands of miles in search of this Grail. They searched for clues in ancient texts and analyzed every verse in the Bible, all in hope of finding the tiniest clue that might help them find the Grail. People excavated tombs, dug beneath ruins, and stormed castles, but it was all in vain. No matter how hard they tried, they could never find the Grail. I don't know too much about it. What happened at the end, I asked. A sinking feeling was growing in my gut. Well, said the rat, scratching his head, it just kind of fizzled out. People moved on. And then it clicked. Oh, I see. The rat raised an eyebrow. You do? Yes. This is some kind of metaphor for my search for the truth, isn't it? I felt angry. Not really. It's more of a direct no. What would you know about it, jackass? I snapped back at him. Do you know how much time I've dedicated to this stuff? Do you know how many hours and days I've spent trying to find anything that might lead me closer to the truth? I have spent so long on this. I know more about this than anyone else, and I am an undisputed expert of this stuff. I've spent more time and energy than anyone else on this. All right, I can smell where this is going. I'm out. Take care of yourself, Swampy. The rat went back into his hole. Screw you! I don't need your help! I shouted after him. He doesn't know what he's talking about, people. He's just a desert rat. You want to know about the sand? You can ask that guy. So that's more or less the full account of what happened since we last spoke, Discord. Mark my words, I am still bound and determined to get him beat. I'll never stop fighting. I'll never stop hunting. I will be trying to get him beat until my dying breath. Let 2019 be remembered as the year that gamers finally got the devs beat. I'm still in Arizona, by the way. Not sure how to get back yet. Don't worry about me, though. I'm crashing at this rat's place. We don't get on. He's a massive dick, but he's not a monster, and he won't let a frog die alone in the desert. But while I figure out how to get back from here, I'm going to have to take my activities part-time. But I know that together we can change the world. My Wi-Fi here is pretty spotty. It is the desert after all. But if any of you want to get in touch with me, shoot me an email at swampycornelius@gmail.com. Let me know how your search for the truth is going. I love you, Discord. Your friend, your ally, Swampy Cornelius.